everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Bodacity Show. I'm Jeanette Anderson, your hostess with the mostest, of course, and I'm here today with the fabulous, lovely, and awesome Laura Ballerini. She's fabulous, lovely, and awesome because I've known her for a long, long, long time. And because she is, and because she's got such a really cool brain when it comes to creativity, which is part of what I really wanted to share with you all about how to think more creatively. So welcome, Laura. I'm really happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks, Jeanette.
So let me tell you a little bit about Laura, and then we'll get the juicy, behind the scenes stuff. And then we're going to launch into a conversation around creativity. So Laura Ballerini is a designer who started much of her creative journey in the advertising department of the Calgary Herald. So we're both from Calgary. She now owns her own communication firm and has for a long time, we'll talk about that, and seamlessly weaves together an unlikely array of stories about her inspiring mother, online shopping, designing in the dirt, and many other adventures. Some of these essays are funny, some poignant, and all are memorable snippets of universal experiences meant to spark our awareness and awaken us to the rich fields of creativity around us. I think your intro is missing a line. In her book, The Green Velvet Chair, is where she weaves those stories together and creates those wonderful snippets and insights. So we're going to talk about her book as well, but she has her own communication firm and really, really supports clients in branding, being seen, being heard, and being more effectively communicating to all of the stakeholders that they need to communicate with. So that's a little bit about Laura. So let's find out the real, juicy behind the scenes stuff. So what will we guess by looking at you, Laura? What's something that people would be really surprised by, even those who know you?
Okay, well, I've got a couple things. I am a recovering people pleaser. I recently was diagnosed with a kind of a life-threatening disease, and I realized, life is very short. And while I want to please my clients and my family and serve them, I also want to make the most out of life and really, really do things for myself that are going to make me happy as well. So that's been a real eye-opener for me. And something that most people don't know about me is I am a ferocious Barbie doll clothes maker. Everything from like Chanel-like suits with pink satin lining.
Wow.
To Grammy-worthy, outfits for the red carpet. Barbie has them all.
Wow, that's so cool. Did you collect Barbies when you were young?
No, my mom didn't let us have Barbies when we were little because she didn't like the big boobs. So I got I can't even remember what her name. We had Skipper. I had a Skipper because she was Barbie's little sister. Yeah. So anyway, my granddaughter got a Barbie doll for Christmas, and I am thrilled. I didn't give it to her, and I'm thrilled because now I'm making Barbie doll clothes again.
So funny. That's so cool. And so what see now where I'm going to get all sidetracked by that. What prompted you to want to make Barbie doll clothes? Because they're hard, they're little.
Oh, they're difficult. And my sister goes, oh, my mom was a sewer, and she goes, oh, you got mom's sewing ability. And ever since I was a kid, I had this fascination with Barbie doll clothes. And if you can sew Barbie doll clothes, you can pretty much sew anything. So yeah, it's teeny tiny. It was frustrating at first, but I got my mom's old sewing machine, which is fantastic. And I love, 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 love it.
That's so cool. That's very, very interesting. I did not know that about you, and I've known you for a long, long time. And see, if I was you, I'd have given your grandkids Barbies long ago so that you could do that, right? All right. So tell us how you first got into design, and maybe a little bit about your why. Why do you care about design, about communications, about marketing, about all the stuff that you've been doing for so long?
Okay, that's a really great question. My why is really, I was a very shy, quiet, introverted little girl, like extremely shy. And I was very comfortable to be to just blend into the woodwork in the background. I was very comfortable there. I was very happy there. But of course, I didn't talk a lot. So I expressed myself through art and design, through painting and drawing. And, my mom was Ukrainian. She taught us how to make Ukrainian Easter eggs. That is another one of my favorite things to do. We learned how to do all that. And of course, I made Barbie doll clothes. So I found all those creative outlets. So when I graduated high school, it was a no-brainer for me to go to art college because I wanted to learn about advertising. I wanted to take the skills that I learned as a quiet introvert, as far as communication and design, and work with clients to help them find their brand, speak their brand, convey all their products and services in a very graphically pleasing visual way. So that's kind of my why, is finding my voice as I grew up. Visually and applying that to my work.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so it's a way to be seen and heard and self-expressed, and then it just happened to become something that you turned into expressing for other people, helping other people express.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about why creativity or how creativity relates to business. Because in so many ways, but in terms of you and your agency, how do you think about creative expression for businesses? Let's start with that.
Okay, I think this is where I'm going to weave in some of my stories from my book, because I wrote my book about creativity, but actually having worked with you, Jeanette, I really extracted the lessons that I learned when I wrote the stories that weren't necessarily related to business, but one of them is vision. The title of my book is The Green Velvet Chair. Where does that come from? Well, my mom found an old chair in a farmer's field years ago. Everyone scoffed at her. What are you going to do with that piece of junk? She turned it into a beautifully rebuilt, upholstered, resanded down, all the maple wood, like not maple, it was walnut. She took this piece of junk and she carved it into something fantastic. And that taught me about vision. When everyone else is saying, no, you can't do it, it's like, just watch me. So it taught me about vision. There's other stories about brand and, difficulties in high school that taught me about personal brand, This one I'm going to share because I think it's important, just as far as brand, because everyone thinks brand is that big shiny logo and, the colors and the fonts. And that's not really the brand. I want to share this story from high school because I was a shy, as you can guess, I was a chubby, pimply-faced girl with greasy hair in high school. Nobody paid me any mind, which was fine. But I went to art college. I learned about art and design. And when I came back from my high school graduation or my high school reunion, there was a boy, one of the popular boys, ran in front of me, ahead of me, and he opened the door for me and he says, "Oh, after you." And then he looked at the picture on my name tag and said, "Oh," it was my old high school graduation picture. And he goes, "Oh, you're Laura." He goes, "I wouldn't open the door for you back then, but I'm going to open the door for you today." And I thought, you know what? My outside might be polished. I might have learned to curl my hair and put on makeup, but my brand, my inner brand was my values and my core ethics and all that kind of stuff. And to me, that epitomized what brand is. Brand, sure, the big shiny logo is nice, but it's really for companies to talk about their core values, the ethics, all the things that they bring to the table that lie underneath that brand. And so that little story just kind of brought to life what brand is.
Well, it's interesting because as you were saying that story, I was thinking, well, actually, it kind of reinforces that it is the bright, shiny, but then it really doesn't, because he wasn't one of the people who bought you in high school. The people who bought you, the people who were your friends, who you hung out with, were the people who knew the inner you, the values and so forth. And it wasn't about the bright, shiny. The people who didn't buy you, like him, who didn't open the door to you and be part of that, were the people who were just cared about the looks of the company. So that's a great illustration, because I was thinking at first, I was thinking, no, that just kind of reinforces. And it's like, nope, not the people we want to stay with us, the people who we want to buy us and stick with us are the ones who look beyond that. So that's really cool. I love that. That's a great story and a great way to reinforce brand. It's so funny because I've had 4 conversations with agency owners who want to come on and talk about brand, and every one of them almost every one of them talks about it in the same way, that it's about the external look. So I love that perspective of, no, people buy us, stay with us because of who we are, not how we look. Cool. All right. And you mentioned resourcefulness too. That's something that you learned and you wrote stories about. How does that
Mhm.
tie in with creativity in business or with business?
Yeah. So that was a chapter called the bright red crayon. And it was really about me. I'm going to tell the story quickly because it does teach, or speak to resourcefulness. Again, I was a kid. It's funny that we're all so influenced by our childhood and things that happen and what we learned. And much of the stories in this book are about that. But when I was in school, I was probably grade 2 or 3. It was Valentine's Day. We were going to make Valentine's cards that afternoon. Well, I forgot my pencil crayons at home. So I didn't have any crayons. And this was the 60s. Teachers were tough. Teachers were, oh, you can't share pens. You were told to bring your crayons. You better bring them. And when you didn't, I didn't want to get in trouble. So I got back to school and I thought, I forgot my pencil crayons. And I dug into the back of my desk, and I found one red crayon. And I pulled it out and I started drawing using one crayon. So luckily it was white paper with red ink, red crayon. And my teacher was walking around and she stopped at my artwork and she picked it up and she went to the front of the desk, and I thought, I'm going to get in trouble. And she didn't. She says, Laura took one color and she made this beautiful design with hearts. And the red against the white was a beautiful design that she made here. So for me, it was resourcefulness. It's like, especially coming through the pandemic, resources are low. We got where things are tight. We have to be very resourceful with what we have. And sometimes you can make the most and do the best work out of times when you have to be resourceful.
Absolutely. Great illustration. And sometimes we just have to find something and make it work. And especially like you said, now figuring out who are we and how are we going to approach things and so forth. The resourcefulness, I think people came through a period of, okay, I got to pivot and pivot and pivot. And so we were kind of forced into being resourceful, but resourcefulness as far as creativity, how can we be resourceful and creative at the same time? That's different than how can we be resourceful and pivot and survive. This is another level of how do we take that and turn that into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And perspective. You also have lessons on perspective for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to tell this as a story. It's really about my cat. We have a house cat, and we have a bedroom, and I usually have the blinds closed, but they have blinds that open up into the backyard with the birds and the squirrels and all that. And many times I'll walk by the bedroom and I'll see the cat looking through the blinds. Well, the blinds are closed, and I'm going, what is he doing? What's he looking at? So one day I decided to see what he was looking at, and I laid down beside him, and of course he scurried away when I laid down, but I looked from his perspective and I could see slits through the blinds. I could see slivers of the birds, and I could see slivers of the squirrels and the clouds moving and stuff. And it made me wonder, especially with, times like today where we've got so much conflict. It's really, how are we making our decisions? Are we seeing the world through half open blinds? Are we seeing the world through blinds fully open? How are we making our decisions? How are we judging? Are we being discerning? Or, you know what I mean? It kind of opened up my eyes literally to, how many of us are seeing the world through half open, through slits in the blinds, and not really seeing that full view. So it really made me think about perspective and making sure we're asking the right questions and looking at all the different points of view before we make decisions. And that obviously comes to business as well.
I really love that. And I think the piece around that's so profound is we need to be creative in perspective because we come from the framing that we have on the world. We have that built-in frame and perspective on how we see things. And unless we get creative and say, how else could this be other than how I see it, then we can't get any kind of other perspective on things. So it's a creative process to gain additional perspective. Some of it is waking up and seeing what is, as opposed to, how we sometimes aren't even present with what is. But some of it is that creative generation, the imaginative process of stepping outside of our typical way of seeing things or labeling them. So yeah, that's, you've mentioned a number of things. Vision, how do we cultivate our vision? Can we see possibilities as a leader that other people may not see, and then bring that possibility to fruition? That's part of leadership. Brand being more about that inner reality than the external packaging. And same thing as a leader in our business. Where are we coming from as a leader in the business, but also the business? What's the substance of it versus the nice shiny packaging? And how can we be more resourceful, find how to be creative with the resources we have? So beyond just that kind of survival, but being creative and generative. And perspective, how do we create new perspective? All of these are acts of creativity, which I think is a really interesting, different perspective on being a leader. Because I don't necessarily think of creativity as a fundamental foundation for leadership, right? And it is. there's yeah.
It definitely is, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you translate that for you in your business with clients? How do you help them capitalize on those things in their marketing? So let's take it to the level of marketing. So that's personal leadership. How do we apply some of those things in our marketing?
For me, I think I see three things. I always start with the strategy. I'm a designer. I like to make things look pretty, but I also tell people we don't do lipstick. We start with a strategy. We want to know why. Why are we doing this campaign? Why are we building this website? What are the outcomes? Do you want brand recognition, brand awareness? Do you want more downloads? Do you want to sell product? Let's really figure out the why. Why, what's the strategy behind all this? And then secondly, it's really, for me, and I'm hearing this a lot now, especially again, coming out of the pandemic, everyone's price-based. But it's like, I'm hearing from leaders, they want to work with a trusted partner, someone that they can rely on, someone that's going to give them consistent branding and communication, someone that's going to be there when they need them, not taking a month or 6 months to get back to them. Like we need something, not reactive, but we need someone that's going to be there when we need the help. So it's telling those compelling stories. It's one of my clients, they have a product that saves water. Well, we don't want to give the benefits and features of the product and how it saves water. We want to tell the story of how you're going to help your children and your grandchildren have a better world, because by saving water, it's going to make it better for everyone. That's the story to tell. And then, finally, for me as a designer, it's measuring the results of that campaign or that website. The Google ads, for example. For me, I kind of cut my teeth in the newspaper industry. So if we ran an ad and it didn't work, it was like tough luck. But now when we run ads online, it's like real-time analytics. We can go, okay, this ad is working. This ad is engaging. This ad isn't. Let's take that off and let's refine it. So as a designer, what a powerful tool, the set of powerful tools that we have to actually measure results and be nimble and change things as we move forward.
Exactly. Well, and really, I think it's taking people from the realm of marketers and designers or whatever, and into the realm of communicators. And we get to actually see, is the communication landing? Like, are they hearing us? Are they seeing us? Are they getting it? Versus in the past, we just throw stuff out and we weren't communicating, we were broadcasting. Now there is more of a feedback loop. There's more of a sense of communication to all of that. So what is, in terms of your experience as a communications expert and as someone who's been doing this for a long time, because how long have you had your agency?
24 years. Okay. Yeah, and I was in the industry before that, so many decades.
Okay, so what do you think is one of the big mistakes, especially entrepreneurs make, when it comes to their
Oh, bless you.
The marketing. I'm just going to cough for a minute. You talk about marketing.
Okay. Well, marketing is my new thing is be fundamental or be creatively fierce. I think we have to be brave, and we have to be very honest with what we're saying in our marketing. I think we have to find that voice and be, true to that voice. I think it's very important. I'm also finding that really the face of marketing has changed. It's not really about, as I said earlier, about, listing features and benefits to a product, which is what I did when I first started out. That's what we did. We had bullets of all the features and benefits. Now we talk about the stories of, if you manufacture safety products, you're not talking about the benefits and features of those safety products per se. Your slogan might be everyone goes home safe at the end of the day. So I think marketing has changed, and that we've become storytellers. And, in me writing my book too, it kind of just really underlined that. Are you okay, Jeanette?
I'm fine. I'm okay. This is a post-COVID dry cough, and sometimes it has its way with me.
Oh dear.
Yes. So I love that line about being fierce in our marketing, and yes, the storytellers as well. And speaking of being fierce, you've kind of made a personal transition in terms of how you show up. How did you become Badass Ballerini?
Thank you for asking that, because it has been a very transformational point in my life. So I belong to a networking group. It's a breakfast group, and we always try to change things up every week. But one week we all came to the meeting and we wear name tags. But that particular meeting, we switched up our name tags, and we had to introduce ourselves as the name tag that we chose. And one of the actually original members of the group had picked my name, and I was quite excited to see, what is he going to say about me? How do I show up in this group? What's he going to say about my business and the company? So when he got up to speak and introduce himself, he goes, "Hi, my name is Laura Ballerini, and I'm the quietest and shyest person in this group, and I get along with everyone." And I thought, that's it? And I thought, damn, I wish someone would describe me as badass. So at the time, I belonged to a storytelling workshop, because I'm always trying to find my voice. So I belonged to this workshop, and I went back and I had told them the story, and they said, "Laura, that's it. We're going to call you Badass Ballerini." So I secured the website. I thought, maybe there's some teeth in this. Maybe I can get some traction out of this. So I secured the website badass-ballerini.com, and I started realizing that I have been fierce in my life, and I have been a badass. And I wanted to share some things about being a badass, but it's not necessarily about wearing leathers and driving a Harley. It's about standing up to the bullies. And it's about when everyone says you can't do it. And now I look at them and I say, just watch me. It's about, dancing at your daughter's wedding with no inhibitions. I'm quite a shy, introverted person, as I've said. And I got up on the dance floor and I was shaking my hips and, swerving my hands over my head. And I had so much fun. And it just kind of underlined that life is short. Just be fiercely creative in every way.
And to be a badass, like you said, you don't have to wear leathers or be loud. You don't have to become an extrovert to be a badass. You don't have to be, suddenly the front and center. You can be a badass and, like you said, stand up to the bullies, including yourself. If the bully in your head is the person that's shutting you down all the time, standing up to that bully too. So I really love that. And your description is quietly fierce disposition. Right. So really getting and owning, hey, I'm strong. I am fierce. I have created and overcome and done a lot, which I really want people to hear, especially the introverts in the group. Quietly fierce disposition makes you a badass. I think a lot of introverts think they have to become someone other than who they are to be fierce, to be bold, to be a badass. So thank you for that, and for really claiming that space too, because I've watched you really beautifully claim that, step into it, own it, and it's a quiet confidence that just says, nope, yeah, like you said, just watch me. You can't stop me, right? Without any of the hoopla and the noise and the, aggression or whatever. It's just like, yeah,
Mhm.
no, just off you go. Talk to the hand. I love it. Love it. So tell us a little bit about your book and where we can find it, and what prompted it. What prompted you the writing of it? Because you've got lots of stories, of course, from your life, but what prompted writing it?
I think it was finding my voice. I think I've been frustrated for a long time. Not, people, I always felt like people didn't hear me. And that's, I think, why I think I am a good designer. I think I really bring out the best in my work because that's where I voice myself. So finding my voice is really important. But of course, it wasn't even an oral voice, it was a written voice. And like I say, I worked with this coach for a couple of years in her group, and she had workshops where we did oral storytelling, and people were going, oh, I love your stories, they make me laugh, some of them make me cry, like you're a good storyteller, which I never thought I was a good storyteller. So then I had the confidence to start writing them down, and then before you knew it, I had 40,000 words they're all short stories, but I had enough for a book. And yeah, I started marketing that with the premise that I'm a designer who's found your voice, this quiet designer who's found a voice through the written word, and it's been quite a transformation for me. But I just wanted to circle back to the badass Ballerini part, because the irony is this fellow that had introduced me as this quiet short person, I had since asked him if I could tell the story, and he goes, oh yeah, for sure. But I saw him the other day, and he doesn't even call he quietly fierce resonates. Badass Ballerini does not resonate. He calls me BA Ballerini.
Ah.
So
Okay,
that one's not.
He'll get there. He'll catch up. And part of that is perhaps, the you settling into it more and expanding into it more so that it, shows up more out there. It is a journey, but part of what as much as I appreciate your wisdom around creativity and creative expression, your journey in terms of going from being a designer to being a communicator, one who really has found her voice and expresses it, yes, through your book, yes, through your design, yes, through your agency and marketing strategies, but really just in terms of you really showing up and communicating and helping others communicate, I think is a fabulous journey, because it started with you claiming your voice and getting that you deserve to be heard. It's a fabulous example, I think, for a lot of people. And one of the ways we can be creative to create that being seen. So how can they find your book or get your book? Where can they go to get it?
So my book is at my author website, which is badass-ballerini.com. And there is a free download. There's an excerpt of the book on there. There's links at the top of the page. So that's my author website. And then my corporate website is bluebrown.com.
Blue Brown and BLU, right?
Yeah, no E in blue. So
No E.
BLUBROWN.com.
Okay. BROWN.com. Okay. And Ballerini is BALLERINI .com. So badass-ballerini.com for your excerpt of the book. So go and get those inspiring stories and think about them in terms of leadership. And one of the things that I would encourage all of the people who are watching this, think about where creativity, leadership, and business come together for you. So Laura's given you some brilliant little ideas of ways to start seeing things differently, and how can we be more creative in our business. So one of the things that I'm taking away from this for me is, how can I imbue my business with more creativity? Like what would make it fun or different or stand out more, or because I've kind of gotten into a rut of delivering content and teaching and training and so forth. And while it's all great, I haven't really been attending to how to make it more creative, more different, more expressive, more different. And so thank you for that reminder. I'm gonna go and think about that some more now. And you can, when we have our next call, you can give me some ideas, okay? Because that would be fun to start to make it more bodacious, because that's what this is all about. All right, so what's one last thing? Oh, and I'm assuming that if they want to get in touch with you, that they can reach you through your website, Blue Brown Communications, or bluebrown.com?
No, it's simple. It's bluebrown.com. No E in blue.
Okay, bluebrown.com, or through badassballerini.com, that they can get in touch with you through that, right? Your
Yes.
email.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's one last thing you'd like to leave everyone with when it comes to creativity? What's one last thought?
Well, I am a big believer in nurturing your own creative outlet. You know, you hear about Albert Einstein he was actually a brilliant musician. Louis Pasteur was a brilliant painter, but they weren't known for painting and musical skills. They were known for chemistry and physics. So my thing that I would like to leave everyone with is do something creative. It's going to bring more creativity to your work, to your job, to how you think. Creativity is a very important aspect of life, and I think we should all nurture that or in a creative aspect. So yeah, I think be creatively fierce.
Love that. I love that. And so whether you're making Barbie clothes, or I'm going to go get my sketch pad out of my truck where it's been sitting for months and months unattended, and I'm going to get that out and just do a little sketching. So thank you for that reminder. That will make me a better business person, and I'll probably be a little more fun too. So that would be good. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Laura. And please do check out her book, read it. It's lovely. Lots of great depth to it. So go grab that excerpt and reach out to Laura if you are looking to up-level your communications and how you're expressing yourself in the world. Please connect with her. She's very, very good at it. So thank you for being here, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. All right, I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Have a great and bodacious week, everyone, and go be creative this week. Bye for now.